Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Milsurp World podcast, a podcast all about military surplus rifles and whatnot. I am Danny. I am here today with Aaron, Dan Lopez, and Jared Billy.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey guys.
So the topic. This was kind of the topic changed in my mind as I thought about it, because originally I wanted this to be about sort of the elitism and the military surplus collecting community, and then it kind of changed more into something like the different type of collectors, the different types of people, because there's for just being a generic gun group, there's quite a plethora of different types of collectors, because there's a lot of stuff to collect. And there's some, unique and interesting and weird people in different little niches. So I thought this might be a cool place to kind of maybe talk about some of them, talk about some of our experiences with these various collectors, and just chat it out. It's kind of just a free, open, loose topic sort of podcast.
Yep.
Okay.
So to get things started, the I think I sent you guys this meme of the elitist collector nomenclature.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did I send it to you, Aaron?
Maybe.
I think I might have sent it to like the Mauser group chat, but I'll send it to you right now just so that you can see it. But it's basically, and this is like I've seen people say a lot of these things. So like one of the things when people are going to be showing off a gun or showing off something in their collection, one of the things that they'll say is that this gun is salty, right? That's typically if the gun is in kind of rough shape. So if this elitist type of collector will, if his gun's not in good shape, he doesn't admit that it's not in good shape. He just calls it salty, or what's the other one? If it's got some pitting on it, Aaron.
Oh.
It's blood pitting.
Oh yeah, blood pitting. Yeah. I'm sorry. But that's not really elitist. That's more FUD.
Yeah, and even just thinking about like the elitist collectors, I started thinking like, well, there's like the elitist collectors, like I was talking with Dan earlier about how like there's some elitist collectors where they just think, oh, U.S. stuff is the best. The 1903 is the best rifle, or the M1's the best rifle, and every other gun sucks, and U.S. stuff is best. Or there's the elitist that's just like, if I own it, it's the best gun, just because whatever gun they happen to own is the best gun. And then there's the kind of the top tier of the elitists who actually do own, really good stuff, and they know it, and they're gonna let you know it that it's the best stuff.
Those are the guys with a lot of money and actual rare stuff in their collection.
Scarce.
I was at a gun show.
You don't say rare.
Yeah.
Yeah, saying rare isn't cool. You have to say scarce.
I was at the Boise Gun Show over the weekend, and there was a guy there with probably 20 volcanics.
Wow.
Like $1 million worth of guns on his table. And he was just showing them off. Like, he bought a table, and they weren't for sale. He just had them laid out so people could look at them.
I don't understand that. I've seen that before as well. Like, you walk by a table and there was you stop and ask the guy, like, oh, what is this? Is it for sale? No. Then why are you here? Like, I don't
Yeah.
I don't get it. I don't,
Yeah. I saw that at this past weekend. There was like a Siamese Mauser with a bayonet on it laying on the table. No sign or anything around it. And I like look at it, it's got a little price tag. And I go and I look at the price tag, and it says not for sale on the price tag.
I hate that.
What?
I mean, I realize it's called a gun show, but that's taking it quite literal.
Well, I've seen that at gun stores too. The guys that display their collection at the store that doesn't have anything for sale.
Yeah. There's a store here in the Kansas City area that is that way. They don't have hardly any Milsurps. It's mostly like new AR or whatever crap. But all along their store, all along the walls, they have a whole bunch of Milsurps, like up out of reach, but just like up displayed, like all the Milsurps.
There's one around here that's like that.
I have one of those that they have a 4-shot Italian Federally Vitali, and it's up on the wall, and I'm like, hey, what is that? Like, I know what it is. I'm like, can I see that? And he's like, it's not for sale. I'm like, okay, what is it? Well, we don't know. It's like, oh, well, do you want to know what it is? Because I'll tell you what it is. Like, that's the only one I've ever seen, and it's not for sale because they think it looks cool. It's like, okay.
I mean, they're kind of right.
Yeah. I just don't understand the mentality of we have it on display in our store. It's like, are you running a museum or are you running a gun store here? Like,
yeah, there's a store like that near me, and they're not even like quality Milsurps. They're like really like poorly maintained Carcanos, or like there was one Arasaka that it was a last ditch, so it doesn't look great to begin with. But it's just like it's covered in a layer of dust, and it was like it's not for sale. And I'm just like, I was just looking at it, man.
Yeah, those are the guys. They think that they have something special, like the people that find a K98K or something, like some just generic mass-produced gun, and then they post it online. They're like, yeah. So other than like the maker and the year, what can you tell me about it? What's special about it? Like they just think that there's something like, so we're going to be like, oh, that gun was used by, Walter Model himself in 43. Wow. Like it's like they're hoping to be like that person on the Antique Roadshow, that brings in the whatever. And
I mean, yeah, they're not wrong. A lot of people think that you can just trace serials like to wherever. Like somehow I can look at this 1943 Tula M9130 and tell you that it was used in the Battle of Kursk. I don't fucking know. Nobody knows.
Man.
I've seen people do that though. That say that because of the date or whatever, that it could have been in this, and I'm just like, yeah, I mean, it could have been. Or it could have been assigned to a guy that never left the depot back in Moscow.
Yeah. There's just no way to tell with that stuff. Like the closest you can get to that is, like if it's a bring back from like a particular, not so much in like European wars, but like in one of the things an example I'm thinking of is a bring back from a specific island in the Pacific during World War II. So it's like it's an Iwo Jima bring back, something like that, but it's it's papered.
Yeah.
You could also, only German that I know of is you can look at the unit markings. Sorry, like if it's, I have a 7184 that was like assigned to this division, battalion, da 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 da. I guess other people did it too, but I think of the Germans as the most that did it the most, anyways. If it was right.
Yeah. So let's see. What's some other hallmarks of an elitist collector that you guys can think of? Their stuff is the best. They'll let you know that it's all matching, or almost all matching.
Your stuff is inferior. So,
yeah.
I bought a Type 99 Arasaka from a store. I had it on the counter. It's like, hey, and these guys walk over and they like start handling it and look at it. I'm like, hey man, that's my gun. Like I just bought this. And he like looks at it, he goes, nah, it's a capture gun anyways. And he just like sets it down on the thing and walks away. I'm like, you're being a douche.
Wow.
Like,
yeah, that was a pretty big douche nozzle. Wow.
Yeah, like I don't come over to your yard and pick up rocks and look at them. Like, but to me, that was my stuff is better than yours. So I would say that should be a hallmark of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we all take a little bit of pride in what we have because we own it, right? But you don't got to put other people down because you own something.
Another elitist term is mint condition.
Oh
yeah. Or the one that gets me is minty. Here's a minty P38, or
Oh yeah, minty. Loser. Yeah.
Here's my minty Mitchell Mauser.
Minty is usually applied to pistols, though I see more often than I see rifles.
Yeah, because I think it's more common for a minty pistol than a minty rifle.
I mean, maybe, yeah, that makes sense.
But even if it's not slightly off, but like one of my new pet peeves is if I'm looking at a gun for sale and it has very obvious like pitting or tarnish or something on it, but it's listed as very good condition. Like I was looking at one that had some like slight pitting on the barrel or the side of the slide, and the condition said very, very good condition with minor pitting. Like an oxymoron of a description of the condition. Yeah.
There's a guy that I know that lists stuff with stock is excellent condition, cracked at the tang. He was like, well, thanks for telling me it's cracked, but it's not excellent condition then.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
I used to hear a lot of never fired or near never fired. It's like it's a 1943
never,
Mosin.
oh man. Yeah, that never fired thing. Oh, that bothers me when people post those. Like if it's like a modern or like a commercial gun or whatever, like look at my never fired 226 or whatever. It's like, okay, maybe it was probably fired at the factory first off. Like I'm pretty sure that's a thing. Secondly, like, okay, you might have never shot it. But then saying that they're, oh no, look, you can look at the breech face and see that it's never been shot. It's like, okay, cool story, bro.
Yeah, that seems to be more of a thing with like the collectible guns that you see like new in box, you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah. But the unfired part doesn't really, I don't quite understand that. Like to me, unfired, that doesn't like do much to the value. Like if it's in good shape, it's in good shape, whether or not it's been fired a handful of times or not. I don't know. I guess some people just like that. Something
Othias said one time on one of his shows, I don't even remember where he said it, but it was basically like one of his pet peeves was that good condition for its age. It's like, no, it's either in good condition or it's in shit condition.
Good condition for its age. That's funny. Yeah.
Yeah, but that shows up a lot. Like it's good condition for 120 years old. It's like, no.
Good condition, found in bottom of the ocean.
That's blood pitting.
That's blood pitting, yeah.
Yeah. Any rust or pitting, it's blood pitting.
But that, like we said, so there's multiple types of collectors, and some of them overlap. Like a lot of people overlap with some of the different types.
Oh yeah.
But the blood pitting thing, I think, is more FUD than I think it is elitist.
Yeah.
Do we want to define what a FUD is?
Yeah, I guess so.
A FUD is someone who knows what he's got.
That's a really good way of describing it for people who know what a FUD is.
Yeah, so
I know what I got.
Typically, it's an older person. Doesn't have to be. But
stereotypically, it is.
Stereotypically, it's an older person. But what it means is that it's somebody that doesn't know what they're talking about, but is really, really sure they know what they're talking about.
Oh, okay. See, I was going to move that over just into the know-it-all.
Well, kind of. The know-it-all can be that, but that's like the know-it-all that doesn't know anything. The know-it-all is more of, in my opinion, somebody that like just dumps information on you without asking.
Oh yeah.
And it's information you can find on Wikipedia.
Oh yeah, it's some super basic knowledge.
Yeah, like you post it on Facebook or something, and then you just copy and paste Wikipedia's entry for you, or something like that. You know what I mean? That's the more know-it-all to me.
Yeah. Now working at gun shows, I see a lot of the know-it-all types, and it's one of my favorites because I'll there's some Milsurps on the table that I'm working at, sitting in front of it, and it's usually like the one guy with like his other friends, and he's like, oh, look at this is a M9130, this was used by the blah blah, and it's just like spouts off basic stuff, but like every now and then one of them will slip up in front of their friends and they're talking and they'll say some wrong information.
Oh, Danny's barking.
Yep.
So they'll slip up and they'll say the wrong information, and then I get to be like, hey, actually it's blah blah blah, which I don't know what that puts me, what group that puts me in. That I like.
That's the know-it-all.
Is it like the extra? It's like extra know-it-all because I correct the know-it-all.
It's the correcting. It's the know-it-all Nazi. There we go. How's that? instead of grammar Nazi.
I was thinking it
We
was
probably shouldn't say that word because I'll probably get that banned on YouTube.
Yeah. I would say that would be the know-it-all could be branched into the thinks he knows it all and the actually knows it all know-it-all.
Yeah. Well, it's like I don't care what they know, like, but just the fact of him so like authoritatively telling it like to his two friends like in front of me, I'm just gonna be like, okay, like if you're saying it, if he was just like, well, I think that this is a blah blah blah, I wouldn't be like, hey, well, actually. But if he's
Oh.
like,
And I'll fully admit I have been guilty of being a know-it-all before.
yeah. So these are all probably stuff that we're all guilty of in some form or fashion.
Yeah, me for sure.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Oh yeah,
Dan,
definitely.
are you
Jared.
done barking at the squirrels, Dan?
Probably not.
Oh, okay.
It's gonna happen again at some point, guaranteed. She's a nice warning system, though.
Those hateful squirrels coming to get you, man. All right.
Okay, the FUD. I gotta say
we were talking
story.
about the FUD, yeah.
So I have a FUD story from the last gun show. This guy comes up to the table and he hands me a sporterized drill tap. It's got a scope on it, Spanish 1916, and he's asking me a question. I forgot what it was. Something like, "Hey, like this doesn't work. Do you have a whatever? Or what can you tell me about this?" Something like that. And so I just gave him some basic information, and then he's like, "Cool, thank you." And then he's like, "Yeah, I just got this sporterized, so I just got to get it, blah blah blah. I need some ammo." And I was like, "Oh, you just did that?" And he's like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Do you?" It's like, "Do you know how much a Spanish 1916 stock like sells for on eBay right now?" Because of the there's so many like 1916 actions floating around that need stocks now. So I told him the price, and he was like, "What?" Yeah, and then I was like, "Yeah," and that bolt, and he like heat torch bent the bolt, like really messed it up. Yeah, and like dug, cut into the wood, so it has to like go like and lay into the wood. And I was like, "You know how much that bolt is? Like a complete Spanish 1916 bolt, like on eBay?" And he's like, "Oh wow, well I guess I shouldn't have done this." And I was like, "Yeah, probably not. You just burned $300." So
You're making me cry, Danny.
yeah, it just irked me because not too often do you run into people who like just sporterized a Milsurp. There's plenty of ones that like are sporterized.
Yeah, but they've been so for 50, 60 years.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
or longer.
yeah.
Because
I mean, like
50 years ago now is 1971.
Wow.
oh man.
So probably let's go 70, 80 years.
Damn. Yeah, that's true. But I run into old timers every now and then, and they'll bring up and talking about like, "Oh yeah, I had one of those. I turned it into a nice hunting rifle, or something like that." And it's like, "Oh, that sucks. Trying not to hate you, sir." But yeah, it was like 50 years ago, or he did it, or 60 years ago back because he bought it in a barrel at the hardware store and it wasn't worth nothing. So it's like, okay, that's slightly more forgivable, I guess, if you did it 70 years ago.
Doing it recently is kind of silly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, especially the amount of time and money invested in it, you could get a better gun.
Cheaper.
I mean, you could go to, well, maybe not Walmart anymore. You go down to a store and get it brand new, out of the box, like Savage for like $200, $250.
In a caliber that you can buy on the shelf.
Yeah.
Not every store has 7mm Mauser, but most stores have 308.
Yeah.
So
yeah, the FUD collector is pretty interesting though. Like they're not so much of a collector, like as they just kind of have like a rifle cabinet in their living room where they keep like 2 or 3 sporterized Milsurps in there that they swear by and that they shot a deer last year with. That's just the best rifle.
Danny, you keep going into like an old Southern twang. You don't
Well,
have
we're
to
talking
be
about the FUD.
old and Southern to have this.
It just fits, man.
you're pigeonholing. You're stereotyping.
There's another subsection though of this, which is something that I've seen come up more often recently on some social media, is the my father or my grandfather brought this back with him, the bringbacks,
Hmm.
which
Yeah.
which is definitely like, for the most part, especially if it's my father or grandfather was a serviceman in the U.S. military and brought back his service weapon, very unlikely.
Yeah. Yeah. There are a lot of those. I think the term is like it's overused. I think it's just way overused. There are bringbacks. There are like my grandpappy brought this back guns. But yeah, there's like weird stories where everyone's saying it. I think I saw someone on Facebook the other day post like a Spanish 1916 or something, and was like, "Hey, my granddaddy brought this back from World War II," and it was one of the ones that was in 7.62. It was like, yeah, he most definitely did not, unless he gave it back to the Spanish, and then they changed the caliber in the 50s or whenever they did that, and then
Yeah.
no. So it's I don't know how some of that's. I mean, I've doubted. Yeah, I don't. I'll say the story just in case like people listening or whatever don't know it, but like I have a Remington Rand 1911 that the story is told to me from my dad, because I never met my granddad. He died before I was born. But he was in the Navy in World War II, and somehow he brought this Remington Rand 1911 back home. It was like in my grandma's house for like, I don't know how many, 50, 60 years or something, until it got brought over to my house. And like it's mine now. But just because like I've heard that story told so many times, I'm like, I doubt my own gun. Like I doubt it. I'm like, well, maybe he picked it up after the war, and then who knows how these stories start. So
Right.
But they get taken as gospel and run with forever until
So-
you.
Oh
Go ahead.
yeah, no, go ahead.
It's one of those things that like, well, this is what I was told, so this is the way that it is. And I might have told you guys the story about the VZ-24 that my buddy owns.
I think you might have, yeah.
Okay, so same thing where this is what I was told. I believe it. I have no reason to check it, and then I'm proven wrong. So it's that no one takes the time to learn. Like, this is the gun that my granddad brought home. This gun has an import mark on it from 1990s, buddy. Like, sorry,
oh yeah,
you're
yeah.
wrong.
Well, I'm willing to bet half the time they like find it after Grandpa dies in his closet, and they're just figure he brought it back or something. Because
Yeah.
I've seen that happen.
Yeah,
And
and
then,
then
like-
there's also the thought of like, oh, this is the gun I used to have in the war, or this is like the gun I used to have in the war, and then after so many years it just becomes, well, this is the gun I had, and they don't mean this is literally the one I took back with me. It's like, this is the type of gun I had.
Yeah, or I wonder too if it's something like, like in my case, like it's what if my dad just assumed that he brought it back, like he never actually said it, but they're just like, yeah, he must have brought it back from the war, and after saying it a couple times, he's like, yeah, he brought it back from the war.
yeah,
Like maybe he brought it back. Yeah, he must have brought it back. Oh yeah, he
Yeah.
definitely brought it back.
it just sounds cooler.
Especially if you're like younger, you're like 8 or 9, and it's the 30th time you've asked the question. They just want you to go away. They're going to tell you whatever.
yeah, that's true. I mean,
Oh, go ahead.
the telltale sign that something is a bring back, though, is pretty much if it's duffel cut, an old duffel cut, obviously.
Yeah, you mean I can't just cut my stock in half and say it's worth more?
I mean, you could. I'm sure that might be something one day in the future that people do.
I'm gonna do it right now.
Yeah, do it to your M95 and put some Nazi stamps on it.
Yeah, SS.
Make that thing worth twice as much.
No, I was gonna say I have seen probably the worst example of what happens if you try to say something was taken from somewhere on Facebook, which was a guy posted like 2 or 3 M1s and said, "Oh, my grandfather was gifted these by the what's one of the veterans organizations, like the
Or like the VFW.
yeah, he was gifted one or gifted them by the VFW, and the guy, I don't know if this is true, but the guy posted that, and then like a week later, he posted on the same group that somebody told the federal government, the VFW, that he had stolen merchandise from the U.S. Army, and they demanded the guns back, and he had to ship them back.
Wow.
And he was ranting for like a good couple days about it, but like, so I'm inclined to believe like somebody actually told them that, hey, have you been missing some guns? Because that's where they are.
Wow.
Yeah, because they're not owned by the VFW. I didn't know that. I went and looked it up later, but they're loaned to them by the federal government for use of in like funerals or parades or stuff like that.
Yeah.
So him walking off with it, even though the VFW may have said it was cool, was not okay.
Oh man, that sucks. If you dropped a pretty penny for something and you thought it was legit.
Well, I think he said it was gifted to his grandfather. It wasn't like paid for. Like the VFW was like, just take it. Like I said, I don't know if any of that's true, if that was a true story or not. I just saw
FUD lore.
I just saw it like, happen in real time, and it was quite funny at the moment.
Yeah. I'm surprised we haven't mentioned FUD lore so far.
I mean, yeah, that we talked about it. I mean, blood pitting is one of those.
Yeah, that's the hallmark of the FUD, is the just giving out the FUD lore. So
yeah.
Have you guys heard the fuller grooves in a bayonet referred to as the blood groove?
Oh, oh, yep.
Can someone explain that to me?
Well, you put it. It's so the blood doesn't stick in the blade.
Oh,
so it doesning have blood pitting.
So you stab them with that, and then those grooves, they let the blood flow out, so they bleed to death with it in them, or something like that. I think is what they think.
I was so confused when I heard that. They're like, because I had a bayonet, and I'm like, "Is that real?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's a German bayonet." And like, "Oh yeah, you could tell it's real because it's got the blood grooves in it." It's like, first of all, what? And second of all, fake bayonets have it too.
Man, yeah, that's so wrong. That's bad.
It was funny. Like,
see, I heard that if you stabbed someone with without the grooves with a regular bayonet, it would get stuck in the body, and so the grooves are there to release the suction and make it easier to pull out.
Yeah, that's like the legit reason for it, but that's not the FUD lore reason for it.
Wow.
The grooves are only there if the bayonet was taken off a dead SS officer. That's what that means.
See, I thought that's what the notches in the handle were for.
Oh, yep. Oh, the notches.
Oh yeah, the notches has been coming up recently, hasn't it?
Yeah, we were just talking about that in the group the other day. Yeah, notches, man. Because I posted that one. Like, I'm not gonna call it like that, but it looks like something.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the times, like, somebody has posted something and it'll be just like, the best response I've ever seen of somebody's going, "What is this?" It was like, "Oh, somebody dropped it and it bounced." And it made two dents right next to each other. There you go. It's very unlikely that somebody spent the time to carve kill counts on their guns or whatever.
Especially because they're defacing government property and can be fined.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't mean that it never happened, but I would bet 9 times out of 10, especially when you see like trench art, quote unquote, or graffiti or stuff like that, it's somebody that's just bored and they're just doing something to pass the time.
Yeah. Oh man, trench art. That's something that
trench art's a big one.
It cracks me up. You always see it like at gun shows. You see some and it's like it's called trench art, but it was made like 10 years ago or something. Like somebody made a lamp out of like a modern howitzer shell or something, and that's trench art.
We sound really cynical.
Yeah, I think I'm just getting older. I'm like collecting this long list of pet peeves that like bothers me, and like the more shows I go to, and the more times I see it, and like then I pick up new pet peeves, and yeah, now I'm just a crotchety old man complaining about collectors.
You're never gonna believe what this idiot said on the way home. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we could move on to like you already kind of mentioned it, Danny, when you were talking about the know-it-all at the gun show. Is that kind of know-it-all reminds me of a new collector.
Oh yeah, the noob.
Yeah, the new guy that like has memorized the Wikipedia entry and that's what they know.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
got it.
which they can be annoying, but also at the same time, it's like everybody starts somewhere.
Yeah, we were all there at one point. So that's
Oh
like
yeah.
maybe that's the most forgivable of all of
Yeah.
these is the
The
noob.
people that have an interest, maybe because they saw it in a video game or a movie or a TV show or something like that, and then they've gone and looked it up, but they don't know anything.
They are the most willing to learn, though. So,
The
like, they're hungry for knowledge. Like, they know, they think they know a lot about whatever, or they do know a lot about for whatever, but they want to know more, and that's good.
the unintentionally ignorant.
hmm Well, they're ignorant because they're new to the hobby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just saying they're not like trying to be, a-holes.
Yeah, I think sometimes though they're like the easiest to get take advantage of
Oh yeah.
at like when buying stuff because I've seen some noobs like buy stuff and like they'll see it, a K98K that's like all mismatched and pretty rough and it's like $800 or something and they're like, wow, it's a German K98K from World War II and 8mm.
hmm
Wow, $800. I've seen these go for like $2,000, so that's a good deal, and then
I
Yep.
think we've all seen that.
Mm-hmm.
I was that guy.
I told Danny about a friend of a friend. He bought a M9130, and the store told him that the cardboard box it came in was authentic Russian cardboard.
oh, that's good.
That the box was authentic Russian cardboard, and he told my friend this with like excitement, like it's actual
Oh,
Russian cardboard.
oh, that's yeah, man. I think we've all been there. I need to hear your story, Dan. I want to hear your noob story.
Oh, I was in a gun shop, and they had a couple really cool pistols that I liked, a couple C96s, and they had a Luger, and I've always wanted a Luger, and it was like $900, right? But I've seen them go for 15, 16,
Yeah.
and I knew it was just like a shooter, like not, something special, but I always wanted a Luger. And so I bought it thinking it was, you know, just a shooter Luger, and it wasn't even a military. It was a commercial Luger, which I found out later. I was like, dang it.
Still, 900 isn't terrible for a commercial Luger, is it?
No.
No, it's not terrible, but it's not what I thought it was.
Was
At the
that like years
time,
ago?
yeah, oh yeah.
Like
At the
when
time, I
it
didn't even
was
know
like
there
high
were
years ago.
commercial Lugers. I thought they were all military guns. That's how new I was.
Yeah. Yeah, that's like knowing just enough to be dangerous.
I knew it was a Luger, and I knew I wanted a Luger.
Huh. So is it like matching? Because if I'm thinking if it's like a matching good shape commercial Luger, like I think you did it appreciated over time. It's worth at least that nowadays.
Yes, I mean this was 5, 6 years ago. Back when that nowadays it would be worth 900 easy, but it was a little on the high side, but not terrible.
Yeah.
Um,
But
I
that's oh go ahead.
oh I remember. I think it was all matching except for the magazines.
So not all matching.
So the
I'm just messing with
it
Danny.
wasn't.
I'm
But
messing with Danny. I'm messing with Danny.
No, you're supposed to say all matching but.
But yeah.
but
All matching but. Yeah, no, that's good. That's one of the good things about Milsurps though, man. Like you can mess up and you can, pay $100 or $200 too much for a gun at the time, but they go up, and just hang on to it in a few years, like it's gonna be worth that or more.
oh yeah, I can say I've never lost money selling a gun. I haven't really made money, but
made quite a bit of money when the PSL suddenly became a $1,500 gun.
I wish they were $1,500.
That's what I sold mine for.
Oh, I haven't seen any for less than $2.
Oh, well, I didn't sell out way at the top of the peak. I was like, oh, damn, these are suddenly worth a lot of money? Hell yeah!
Yeah, it's weird how some guns do that all of a sudden. I don't really get it.
Makarovs did that. They were, when I bought my Mac, my first Mac, it was cheaper than an LCP. So I carried it because it was cheaper than an LCP, and now they're 2 times as much as an LCP. Like they tripled in value in a year. It was a few years ago, but it went from a $190 gun to a $500 gun.
Oh, the Nagant revolvers did that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, those things.
That's one of the ones where I can understand the people nowadays that were like, what the hell? Why is a K98 a $2,000 gun when it was $100 or whatever? I was like, oh, I get this now. Because I feel the same way when I see like a $400 Nagant revolver, and I'm like, what?
Yeah. See, yeah, and I guess it's like this is like an old man thing, just becoming an old man. Like I just remember being in like gun shops and seeing $80 Mosins and $99 1895 Nagants, and man, especially I know everything goes up, but man, those like refurb Soviet Nagants are just not good.
And I understand supply and demand. I understand they're not bringing them in anymore. But how is that gun worth $500 when you can go buy many other guns that are of much higher quality for the same
why?
price?
You want to know why?
Because people buy it.
That's because you can suppress it.
Because you can suppress it.
Yeah. Ha ha ha, jackass. Yeah. I don't know. I don't get you know what? Here's the thing. I will rebuttal that. You can only suppress it if you use the ammunition that has the casing that goes inside the forcing cone. Because if you don't use that casing, you still get gas blow by the cylinder.
Wait, you mean if I use my 32, it doesn't work?
32 or 3220 does not work.
What?
It only works with the.
You sound like a know-it-all.
This sounds like something Danny needs to test.
Yes, it does sound like something Danny needs to test. And just because he wanted to be a smartass, I figured I would smartass back at him.
Yeah, I've shot a suppressed revolver before, like a Smith & Wesson. It was a setup to be exactly like a whatever the tunnel rats used in Vietnam.
Oh, neat.
And I used that, and then I suppressed another pistol, and it was supposed to be like a comparison. And that thing was loud. You did not want to shoot the suppressed revolver like without ears on. But it was loud. I think I recorded it, and I was gonna do a video on it. I still have the footage on my computer. It's like 5-year-old footage, but I've never made a video or anything out of it.
Sounds like you've got lots of videos to do. Yeah,
I have a lot of like little. I mean, I record so much stuff, and then it just turns out to be like something's wrong with it, and then I can't edit it. I can't make a video out of it. Like, I forgot what video it was. Oh, I made a why stuff is expensive at gun shows video. I've recorded it twice, and each time there was something wrong with like the camera or something, and so like I couldn't use any of the footage.
It's because I know what I got. How's it feel?
Yep. Yeah. No, not to super get into it, but it's all about like the time and money and effort that goes into it, and it's supposed to be like a look like for what goes into it for people that have like never worked a gun show. It's just supposed to be one of those, because like you show up there at like most people show up around like noon is when it gets real busy at most shows that that I worked at. And you you show up, you go out and you get lunch, and you go to the gun show and you walk around, and it's just like you take for granted that there's like this building full of guns in front of you, and then you like most people complain when it's not like perfect and everything is there that they wanted. But in the fact that it's just like all of these random strangers all agreed to spend like thousands of dollars and their weekend like here in this building, so you can walk by and complain about the price of their guns, is like, it's astounding that it's even a thing. Just all the work and logistics and everything that goes into it.
Yeah.
But people are going to complain, man.
No, it's like a why it is expensive, like just to justify it, sort of, not to. I mean, maybe not justify. It's the correct word. Not to
Explain.
justify it, but to explain it.
Explain
It's
it.
a behind the scenes, sort of.
Yeah. And I was gonna take a bunch of behind the scenes footage when I worked the last gun show at KCI, but I forgot to take a lot of footage.
What was another one we were talking? Well, we talked about Bubba a little bit.
Yeah, Bubba's like a spin-off of the FUD, but I think Bubba doesn't sporterize, where the FUD does. Maybe? Wait, no, because a Bubba
No.
rifle is the thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's the other way around. So the
Mhm.
FUD is the one that doesn't want to learn, has like a in their head whatever it is that they've got, and then the Bubba is the one that has actively modified something.
Mm, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
I think that term has been used quite a lot, obviously.
Bubba?
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of times I hear people calling each other Bubbas on gun groups. Like, oh, you sound like a
Yeah.
Bubba, or oh, don't be a Bubba.
Well, or you know, I think it's also become applied to like anybody that does any modification whatsoever, like, or even any kind of like cleaning, because Danny, I'm pretty sure you've been called a Bubba for some of your cleaning methods.
Oh man, yeah, Mark at Anvil, when he did his like rust bluing episode, nobody had a problem with you cleaning rust off of a gun until Mark put out the rust blue video. And so now if you remove rust off of your gun, you're an idiot, because you're not supposed to remove the rust off your gun. You're supposed to boil it and put stuff on it and dip it in kerosene and then brush it. And it's like, okay, man. And so many people have commented that on that video, about cleaning Milsurps, how to clean rust off of Milsurps. Everybody thinks they're like a gunsmith now because they've watched that video. So you can just go to the comment section of that and you can see people saying like the same thing over and over and over again. It's so funny.
I mean, you are a Bubba. We all know this.
Well, it's like, you know what? When you get to the point that you're calling somebody that cleans rust off of a gun,
I'm sorry, did
like
you
a
mean
Bubba.
patina?
Oh yeah, patina. Yep, I've heard that before. What was it? I forgot what gun it was, but there was a receiver. Can't remember, something. I think it was a gun that it was supposed to be in the white. Like the receiver was supposed to be in the white, but it was pretty heavily like tarnished, and I could see that it had like some surface rust on it. So I just, I cleaned it up to get the rust off of it, and it looked brighter, like brighter in color instead of the darker color. And somebody said that, yeah, I ruined it because I devalued it because I removed the patina.
Yeah,
Huh.
I remember that.
So that's where our patina joke.
So yeah, we have an inside joke
patina.
now that if you want to add value to a gun, you make it rusty, but not actual rusty, patina rusty, which is not different than actual rust, except it's called something else.
Yeah. If you call it rust patina, then it's valuable.
Except when it's not. And if that's confusing, it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, which goes back to like that's what people call like their gun. The sort of elite, or the, maybe not elitist is the best term for that, but like the person who, my stuff is better than yours guy. Like the my stuff is better than yours collector. That's the guy that'll call his stuff patina, but yours is rust.
That's a one-upper.
The one upper.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's a pretty good one. I've seen. Yeah, there's a couple guys. Aaron, you know the one guy, Versigles,
Oh yeah, Venezuela.
Yeah.
It's not
So
his
if
actual
you-
name, so I don't think you'll
Yeah.
ever actually hear this. But anyway,
Who, if you post a gun online, he'll show off his gun, and like that's his reply to it, as like his, but like a less common like version or whatever.
it's like
So if you post-
immediately.
If you post a P38, he'll show his all matching P38 with matching holster and blah blah blah, like the one upper. That's
Yeah.
a good one.
That's a common way to put it, at least that I've heard, is that's a one-upper.
Yeah, maybe that's the like a subsection of the elitist collector, the one upper.
Yeah.
All right, what else did you say? We got the elitist, the know-it-all, the noob, the FUD, the Bubba. You said a tactical.
Yeah, so I mean, it's less so Milsurp collecting and more so just overall gun collecting, but that's one of them that I see quite a bit.
Yeah. Do you remember when it was popular, like 10 years ago, to put like Archangel stocks on like Mosins and Mausers and shit?
Uh,
Oh yeah.
when it was popular.
That's not quite a Bubba thing because like they're not permanently modifying it, but it's kind of is the tacticooler where they
Yeah.
have to take a Milsurp and they have to tacticool it like putting a scope rail on an M1 carbine or
Right.
something.
No, I mean, there's the shop that told the guy that it was authentic Russian cardboard has, and it still has for like 2 years now, a M9130 that's been heavily modified. It's been cut down. It's got an arc-angle stock on it. It's been like the barrel's been replaced with a heavy barrel. Like it weighs like 20 pounds. They've basically tried to make it into like a competition long-range shooting gun, and it's got this humongous compensator on the front, like a 50 caliber compensator. Like it
Man,
looks ridiculous, and I'm just like, it's just like a 1941 Ishevek or something like that. It's nothing anything weird or anything rare or anything like that, but it's like this is like $2,000 worth of work.
geez, do they have a price on it?
I don't remember what it is, if I'm honest, but I'm sure it's a lot.
I know what I got.
It's like putting a dress on a pig.
Well, it's the same thing. I had this explained to me once from somebody that um, does car collecting, and it's the same thing when you customize a car. You're customizing it to what you want, not necessarily what anybody else wants.
Mm.
So you can't just go, I've paid $10,000 to customize this Mustang, so now it's worth $10,000 more. It's like, no, that's not how it works. You know, somebody
Yeah,
else isn't going to want necessarily all the customization that you've done. Maybe they want part of it that way and they want to change something else.
yeah, a little slightly outside of Milsurp collecting, but like that's pretty prolific, I think, in like ARs, like AR collecting.
Hmm.
The quote unquote custom AR-15, like for sale or whatever. They're like, I put $3,000 worth of accessories on this thing, or paid somebody to accurize this and whatever, and they think it's worth that, and they always call it like their custom AR-15, which is just because it's like a mismatch of different parts and manufacturings, but
Yeah,
it's
I mean that's more common in the modern gun collecting world, yeah, but like it's something I never thought of before. It's like you're not customizing it to make it resale.
yeah, which is just like the guy that sporterized the Spanish 1916, like, and it's not worth the amount of money that you gunsmith to modify it.
Yeah.
Are we finished? I don't. Is there any more? Was there any more?
Can anyone think of any more categories of collectors? There's got to be a lot that we're missing, or maybe we're just throwing like a big umbrella over them all.
Oh, I thought of one. The fanatics. And I'll explain this. This is the people that are fanatic about a specific firearm, like group, or like
Like
specific.
M95s.
Shut up. I wasn't going there, but well, I mean, anything can have fandoms, and fanatics are different than like somebody that's like something. Do you know what I mean?
I was at a Peterbilt dealer today. I got my smart ass hat still on. Like, yeah, I agree with you. I know exactly what you mean. Like the people that have to have all the different stamps of a certain gun.
Well, not even that, but like okay, let's say a good example of this is we'll just pick on them again because everybody likes to pick on them. 1911 fans, like it can do no wrong, that kind of thing.
It is the best. It has all the stopping power.
Right, and like that's what I'm getting at is like the group of people that whatever they're a fan of is the best.
Yes.
And I don't know how to describe that group, but it's very common.
Yeah. Or like they've seen Enemy at the Gates, so they know for sure that the 9130 is the best bolt action.
I'm trying to think if it's like they're invested in it.
Well, I don't know.
Yeah,
like,
emotionally invested.
Emotionally invested, yeah, not financially.
Oh, there we go.
Yes, that's perfect.
The emotionally invested group.
Beautiful.
Yep.
Yeah, because I was talking about this with our group chat the other day that we have with some of the admins from the Mauser Facebook, which is I don't understand why the 1903 has such a strong following in the U.S. and I was trying to think about it logically that okay they weren't really used in World War One. Like I think I saw something that said of the million rifles roughly shipped over there, 750,000 were 1917s. So it's like okay, so that would call that barely used, 75% versus 25%. And then they're replaced as the modern service rifle, as the main battle rifle by the M1 in the 30s. And then it's gotta. I'm thinking about it logically right now, and I've thought about this before. It's gotta just be the Marine use of it in the Pacific, but like I can't place it as to why it's so well loved.
Yeah, I think. Well, I mean, so first off, it's not a bad rifle.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. Let me clarify myself. I'm not saying it's bad. I just don't understand the fanatic group following it has. Like, I'm not saying it doesn't deserve it. I just don't know where it came from.
I can take a crack at this because I think I know.
Okay.
If you close your eyes and think of a doughboy, like any picture you've seen of a doughboy that has to do with propaganda, what gun does he have in his hands?
The actual main service rifle, which was the 1903.
The 1903. So anytime you see any propaganda, it's always a 1903 or 1911, or but for the most part, you see the regular infantryman, and he is carrying a 1903 because, and that's beat into everyone for years, even to this day. You can still look up the propaganda, like the pictures of we want you for the U.S. Army, and it's the guy with the Brody helmet and the 1903.
I mean, there's a doughboy statue in my town. It's like literally like 3 blocks away, and he's got a 1903.
Okay, yeah. So same thing when you go to World War II. What's the guy carrying? Even if he's a Marine,
it's
M1.
An M1, obviously, yeah.
My great-grandfather carried an M1 carbine. He was a truck driver. Like, there were more M1 carbines than there were M1s. But you see the pictures that you see the propaganda pictures, and that's what you see.
I completely agree with you.
You know what else I think it probably is Alvin York.
He used
the movies they made.
Oh yeah.
Yes, he did, but in the movies he has a 1903.
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, even film, it's always 1903s. And actually, to further drive the point, I didn't know about 1917s when I started collecting rifles, like 10 years ago now, or whatever.
I would have to fully admit that 1917 had been something that I wasn't aware of at first.
Yeah.
I did not know. And I've seen them. It's like, well, what is this? And everyone called it an Eddystone. This is an Eddystone. I'm like, okay, well, what's that?
Or an Enfield, or they called it an Enfield or an Eddystone.
It's like, okay, well, what is it? And well, it's just this gun. No one would tell me what it was. I had to figure it out on my own. But if you ask anyone,
I was thinking of something else here. The CMP. The CMP would use 1903s. I mean, 1917s are obviously allowed and stuff like that, but 1903s would be more common, especially in the 50s and 60s.
Because they have the battle site calculator.
Well, no, it's just that they did make millions or like a million. I don't know how they made a lot of the 1903s during World War II. So like,
Yeah, and the 1917's not American enough, I guess, because it's like British designed. They wanted to like it's 1903 is designed
But
in
the
America.
the 03A3 is the 1917. It's the 03 with the 1917, and they had a baby, and it was the 03A3.
I thought that was based more on the M1, the side on
honestly,
the 03.
it probably is. I'm looking at the one, and it's like it's got a rear peep sight, and it's a bolt action.
Yeah, I think the sight's based on the M1. That one was, I think, adopted. The 03 was adopted after 03A3 was adopted after the M1, and it was to have the same sights for training and stuff. I'm pretty sure. I'm not a 1903 expert.
I believe you're correct, but if you took the 03 and the 1917 and they had sweet love and they made a baby, it would be the 03A3 because they're very similar. They take qualities from both. But I think that the reason that everyone that the iconicness of it is because of the propaganda pictures and the statues, and it's shoved in your face so much that that's what you know.
Yeah.
I've thought of this before too, trying to figure out where people kept using the term clip incorrectly. And I want to say it's because of the M1.
Huh.
I want to say that the M1 shoved into people's heads that a clip was what you loaded into the gun with bullets in it.
Oh yeah, the clip's got bullets in it, and you put the clip in the gun with bullets, and
I think that's where it became like a thing in the United States. Like that term is clip is correct for that. But like it became like that's what you load into a gun is a clip. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I kept thinking about this, like the M1 carbine is really I guess the BAR, where you have a detachable magazine in the United States, like a large production military use firearm is M1 carbine for a rifle. I guess the BAR would also count as that, but I guess the BAR wasn't a rifle. Whatever.
This is a Thompson discrimination.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Oh
Thompson.
yeah, the Thompson. I forgot about that. But the Thompson as well. Sorry, but I mean I want to say that's where it came from. Besides pistols, obviously, because of the 1911. Man, I'm just really screwing this up. But I want to say that and I don't have any proof of this whatsoever. This is just my like head theory, is that because of the prevalence or commonplaceness of the M1, it became nomenclature that clips are what hold the bullets when you put them in the gun.
Yeah, and it's just easier and faster to say.
Yeah.
But that's not correct, Dirty.
Clips feed magazines.
Or sometimes they serve as the magazines.
And sometimes the clips hold more bullets than the magazine.
Oh, Danny's still sore about that one. Dan or Jared, do you know what he's talking about?
No, I want to hear the story.
No, I don't. Yeah, I want to hear too.
My my M1 Garand tips and tricks video.
Like your third most popular video ever?
No, it's my first.
Oh, it is?
Has,
okay.
Yeah, it's got 1.1 million views, I think, last I checked. But it's because I mentioned in there something about how the magazine only holds 7.
Yeah.
So if you want to be able to like load and have a full magazine without one in the chamber, you just put 7 in the clip and then load it in. And like a bunch of people were being like, "What? No, like the magazine holds 8 because there's 8 in the clip. Like you're a dumbass. Like you can put it." And I'm like, "Okay, we'll try it. Like try to load 8 and close it without one being stripped off the top."
And the best part about that is he told that to a guy. The guy tried it and came back and said, "No, you're right."
Yeah. Yeah,
it was like the internet, like hell froze over that day. The guy went and checked it and came back and said, "No, Danny was right."
Yeah,
I remember checking that too because you said that. I'm like, "What? No way!" And I went and tried it. It's like, huh? He was right. You know, like it. I do remember that now.
That's like it's like the Mandela effect or something. Like people are like, "What? Like no way!" Like you see it all the time, but you don't really realize it. So you have to go and yeah, that's it. And it was only because I don't like to have one in the chamber, especially on something with like a floating firing pin, like an M1. Like I don't know if people know this, but if you like chamber around in an M1, it gets like really light primer strike. But if you extract that round out of the chamber that just loaded on an M1, you'll see a little dimple on the primer just from the inertia of the firing pin like closing, because it doesn't have any like spring or anything holding it back. So which is one of the reasons why you have to one of the reasons why military ammo is good in an M1 with a harder primer. But I just don't like loading like around in the chamber if I'm going to be in the house or something like that, or have the gun, because at the time I kept all my guns loaded, with loaded mags without one in the chamber. So I wanted to do that for my M1. So if I saw hogs outside, I could just grab my M1 and I could just rack the action and it would chamber one. But there wouldn't be until, I could go outside and then rack it.
Speaking of, Danny, I know you just mentioned this offhand, but did you see that the CMP sent out an email about ammunition?
No, I didn't hear it.
Oh my god. It's been like repeated like 30 times on some of the Facebook groups.
Oh, is it the 30-06 don't shoot?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
What's it say?
It's the same old FUD lore. Danny, I guess you want to look it up?
Yeah, let me see it. I just saw it in my feed a while back.
To sum it up without seeing it in front of me, it's basically like, don't shoot certain ammunition in your M1 or 1903 or 1917, or they'll blow up or they'll damage it.
Even the 1903.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, mentioned both. Yeah, don't shoot. Something along the lines of I'm looking for it. Don't shoot modern. Yeah. It did say that like specific bullet weights and I think loadings or.
Yeah, I think it was something over 170 grain not to shoot it.
Yeah.
Which somebody mentioned in the comments that was like, but the 1903 30-06 was 220 grain. So like, huh?
Wasn't that the 30-03?
Yeah.
But the first 30-06 apparently was also.
That's M1 ball.
I don't know these things.
So M2 ball is 150 grain bullet. M1 ball is the 200 and whatever grain bullet. I think that's also known as 30-03. I think Dan is right. But M2 ball is what they're referring to, which is 150 grain bullet. Moving it, I don't know speed.
I think there's M1 30-06, not just 30-03, because I think they changed it to M2 because of it had something to do with the ranges. Like the M1 ammo was too hot or something, and it was messing up their range targets or doing something. Had something to do with the range, and the M2 performed better on their range, even though like it was less powerful. Don't quote me on that.
Yeah, we're gonna quote you on that.
For sure.
Don't repeat that until you look it up.
FUD lore.
I'm what they call a know-it-all. FUD lore.
This is how rumors start right here.
I'm pretty sure I read that.
Oh, you did? Was it in like your latest copy of Guns America?
Oh man.
But you know what though? You did get me thinking, Danny. And you know what rifle that you can load up with a full magazine without having one in the chamber? Full 10 rounds?
Yep.
I don't know.
I'll say leave salt and suspense here. I don't know.
It's the Johnson rifle.
Yep. With the bolt closed.
With the bolt closed. Load a full magazine. And then rack it when you're ready.
So much fun. Such a weird gun.
I think it's better than the M1.
Blasphemy.
Nope.
Because Aaron has one, can you put 5 in a Krag?
Huh?
In a Krag, can you put 5 in the mag?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's totally the plan too. That was like one of the whole reasons they did that. Like that's a full-on like feature they wanted.
Okay. I have one. I've shot it once. I haven't. The ammo's so hard to come by that I have brass. I just forgot to load it, but I never knew if you could actually put 5 in the mag and then obviously load from there on it.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's the whole point. That they would have 5 in the mag, and then single load it, because you would
Yeah.
have the magazine
Cut
cutoff
off.
on, and then they would single load it, and then until they were told to um, turn off the magazine cutoff for rapid fire.
You know, it's better than the U.S. Craig.
I mean, pretty much anything.
Yeah.
I mean, that surprises me so much that they did no field testing whatsoever.
Yeah. Well, like I would say there's almost more U.S. Crag guys than there are 1903 guys, or at least maybe not in number, but as far as like devotion to a Milsurp rifle,
I
those
mean, the
guys.
Crag guys are pretty devoted, but like, I don't know about fanatic level.
They
The Crag
seem
guys admit it's not a good military gun, but it's fun to shoot.
Yeah, I think the Norwegians probably stretched it to its limit with the
Oh, yeah.
1912.
Which someday I'll get one.
Man, did you see how much they've gone up lately?
No, but I bet it's a lot.
Yeah, I noticed after Othnius's Crag episode, Norwegian Crag episode, I was the next couple 1912s I watched on Gunbroker, and like where I got mine for a grand, they all went $3,000 plus.
Holy crap.
Yeah, I've never seen a gun triple in like less than 6 months before. I don't know if that's temporary, but yeah.
Well, you need to get him to tell you what gun he's doing in like a month's time.
Yeah, that'd be good. Yeah, well, you can kind of see it on the wall behind him, like what the next one's gonna be. But yeah, there was a Norwegian Crag at the gun show I went to like a month ago, and the guy was wanting, it was a 1912, it was pretty nice, and he wanted $2,000 for it,
Oof.
which I was like, I mean, that's like $1,000 less than they go for online, but like, will the price drop or yeah, it's tough, man.
I've seen one in the wild, and it was like I think 1,500, but that was before he did his episode.
Was it a 1912 or was it the 94, like the long boy?
12. I think it was a 1216.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they're all 1216s, which is like the dumbest upgrade and the dumbest like nomenclature change. They add a little metal band to the stock and then they have to
It's
I
different.
imagine,
the name.
I imagine it's still for sale at that gun shop too, because I know where it was, and nobody in that area has $1,500.
Hey, go and offer him a solid G. See what he does.
I tried. I tried. He wouldn't move on it.
Man. Yeah, some guys, some sellers, they don't care. They ask what they ask and you can just buy it or not. They'll just sit there. Guess eventually it'll be worth it. Yeah. That's the way my honey hole is, where I got the C96 and all those good deals from. Like he had some fantastic deals and then he's got some others that are way too high and he doesn't budge on anything. Like
Huh.
it's weird. Once he like puts a price down on a price tag, it's like written in stone. Doesn't
I mean, I guess that's one way to do it.
Yeah. I don't understand him exactly, but I mean, I got some good deals, but
I was there when you got a deal.
oh yeah, I got that in the 1922. I'm gonna take Jared there when he comes weekend after next.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to going there, at least seeing it, and
Yeah,
maybe leaving.
when we were there, the shop dog almost killed another dog.
It happens.
Oh yeah, he has like 2 or 3 dogs that he keeps there at the shop because I think he sleeps there, and he has the dogs for like alert, like as an alarm and protection and whatnot.
The dude's kind of weird.
Yeah, that was probably the friendliest I've ever seen him. Was like that day. He's usually pretty like quiet. Like you'll walk in there, you can hear like a pin drop. Like it's
He must
it's
have been
probably
in a
the
good
most.
mood that day.
Yeah. For whatever reason, yeah. But I mean, I've been in there before, and it just feels awkward. Like it's the most awkward feeling, quiet gun shop, and yeah.
It's a library. Yeah, I was looking forward to going there and at least seeing it and knowing like when you call me and you're like, I got this awesome deal, I can at least see the store in my mind.
Yeah.
Like,
They still have a couple of decent ones. The Colt Sistema 1927 Argentines.
yeah.
They have two of those. They're the actual FMAP made ones, marked ones, $6.99 a pop, and
The rolling block.
That's the
yeah,
one I was
yep,
interested in. 7mm?
Yeah.
yep.
Yep.
It looks great, but like it's obviously been refinished. It looks in great shape. It would be a shooter. But like I just didn't have the money. I would have bought it. For sure.
Yeah, it's like the second cheapest 7mm rolling block I've ever seen. Like especially like for that good of shape, even though it is most likely refinished. There's a Luger. You ever get like catfished by a gun before? They have a Luger there, and it's laying on its side, and I think it's like $950 or something like that. And it's like, wow, like it looks like in really good shape. It's like a World War One, like looks like it's all matching. And then you ask to see it, and you pick it up, and you look at the other side, and the other side looks like it laid in like a wet paper towel for 10 years.
Yeah.
That's false advertising right there. Early
Yeah.
getting your hopes up for nothing.
Yeah, it catfished me, man. I went up there with enough cash to buy that thing because I saw the one side of it, and I was like, okay, and I just did some research, and I was like, oh, I should do that, and then went up there with the cash, asked to see it, and I flipped it over and looked at the other side of it, and I was like, oh, they put it pretty side out. You got catfished.
You can have this back, sir.
Oh yeah, it was a big wah.
Well, you did that with another gun when I was there.
Which one?
The one at the other store we went to.
Oh yeah. We went to the other store, and they had a Sauer 38H up in the cabinet. I forgot what they were asking, like 7 or something, which isn't terrible because it comes with 2 mags. And so I was like, all right, like I think I'm gonna do this. And I was like, so I asked to see it, and I took it. Yeah, they took it down, and somebody like took an electro pencil to the bottom of the gun and like carved like some symbol like on the bottom of like the back strap, and it's like, oh no, so close. Daggum catfished.
Catfished.
Hate when it happens.
So you guys buy any new cool Milsurps lately?
I mean, I'll go, but if nobody else wants to.
Well, I
Yeah.
haven't, so go ahead.
Okay. I bought this beautiful K31. It's the nicest K31 I've ever seen in my entire life. It's not import marked. It's a beautiful stock, like all the numbers match. It's just pristine. I bought off of Danny. I'm rubbing it in a little bit.
Yeah, that's one of the guns I put up to pay for my G41. That one hurt.
You know, Danny, we talked about this the other day when I was there, but you really need to do a video on the gun that came back to you.
Oh yeah, I thought about it, but like I don't know if. I mean, I hope people would be interested.
We could talk. I mean, it could be just a quick video. I thought it would be a neat like thing.
Yeah, that was a cool story.
Yeah.
I guess we
I'll
can
have
tell
to do
everybody
it.
here because they don't know what we're talking about.
Nope.
Yeah, I guess we'll say it here because there's probably a little overlap with people who'd watch the video and people that listen to this. But I bought a gun twice, like the same exact gun.
Is that the story?
Yep.
I mean,
that's
that's the gist of it.
Yeah.
Yes. I found back in like June 2019, I go to a gun show and I found a Swedish M94 14 carbine. At the time, I had the rolling block, the 7mm rolling block that I bought for a really good price. He wanted the rolling block. I wanted the carbine. We do a trade. And I have the carbine. At the time, I wasn't super into them, so I brought it to a show to carry around like as trade fodder. And at that show, I found a Swiss 1893 Mannlicher, and so I traded the carbine for the Swiss Mannlicher. Years go by, and this was I don't know how long ago this was. I guess 3 months ago, something like that. I'm at a gun show in Topeka, and there's a 94-14 on the table. A friend of mine actually bought it, but I told him, I'm like, dude, if you don't buy that, I'm gonna buy it. Like, you better buy it. So he bought it, and then afterwards he was like, I feel bad. I know you wanted this, so you can have it. So I got it from him, and I took it home, and I'm looking at it, and I'm like, man, this thing looks really familiar. Like, it looks exactly like there's just something, I know they all kind of look alike, but I'm like, something about this is too familiar. So I looked back in my phone, all the way in my photos that I took, and it's the exact same gun. I looked at the serial number and everything. It's like the exact same gun, but it was two completely different sellers, but it showed up at two different gun shows in like two different states.
Years apart too.
Years apart.
It wasn't like 6 months later.
Yeah, no. Yeah, so it was June or July 2019, I think, when I got rid of it, and then just a couple months ago I got it back.
Huh. That's cool.
Yeah, random. I don't know what the odds of that are, but
and that's what we're going to end it on today.
It's a wholesome story.
Yeah, I mean, unless anybody has anything new. I mean, Dan, did you have anything new?
No, not recently.
Okay. I mean, I traded Danny a Berthier for a M95, which is a huge shock to everybody. What?
Stunned silence.
He just had to. He saw this M95 long boy still in 8x50, and of course he had to have it.
I needed it.
Because it's your first.
It's the first 8x50.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was considering getting one of the... Who is that?
Royal Tiger?
Yeah, one of theirs. Because they have the AOI rifles, which is the Italian East Africa rifles, and I need an East Africa rifle, and they're all 8x50R, so I was like, oh, then I could knock two out with one. But then Danny found this gun at a show. I think it was 400, Danny?
Yeah, 450, something like that.
Yeah, and I was like, buy it. It's not marked on the barrel, so I was like, it's probably still 8x56R, but it's not marked, so whatever. It's still a cheap price for a long rifle. And I was like, I'll trade you my Berthier. And he gets home and he's like, dude, this won't chamber 8x56. And I go, what? And he's like, oh, you paid $450 for an unmodified long rifle? Oh yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just that one vendor, and he's at the show in I'm forgetting the state, Iowa. Council Bluffs. He's at the show at Council Bluffs, and he's like, he has so many Milsurps, man. He's like one of the biggest Milsurp vendors that I've ever seen, because like he'll have like 12 tables, and they're all Milsurps, and they're all like $100 or $200 under like retail, like market. Nice. So I always Jared, he's actually, that show is going on the weekend that you're here. Yeah, and he accepts CNR.
And how far away is he?
It's 2 hours.
That's not terrible. We could go there.
We could
my wife.
Yeah, I mean, we could do it. We could get up crazy early, like on Saturday or something, and go and get back so we can like film and stuff. But
I'm all right with that. As I said, we might have to bring Casey, but she loves going to gun shows. So
yeah, if we didn't go on Saturday, I was planning on going on the Sunday.
Yeah, I say we should discuss this like over dinner on Thursday. Like, hey, Saturday, are we going to be really stupid and spend all day? So I'm okay with that. So,
all right. Well, Danny got a Berthier now, a long rifle. That's what he got out of me.
Yeah. What is it? A Deville or some French word?
Yeah, I'm not gonna try to pronounce it. I don't know how to pronounce it.
The maker. It's the car maker.
It's the car maker. Its abbreviation is DB.
You're a DB.
The DB, long rifle, M16. What is it? It's not, whatever the one with the extended magazine. It's a 5-shot. I don't know the French guns, guys.
Yeah, it's the 1916.
Yeah, but
Right?
what's with the modification? Is it slash? Is it slash 17?
Oh God, see, I don't know French stuff that well
No, I
either.
don't either.
Well,
But
it's the long rifle Berthier. They called it like the whatever slash 14 or 15. Oh God.
0715?
0715. Yeah, I think it has 0715 on the receiver, but
right,
it's was upgraded to like the 5-shot. So I guess
yeah.
it's like call it M16, right? Even though it's an
Wait,
M16
no.
configuration.
It's an 0715 like 18 or something. It's something like we make fun of, like the
Oh yeah.
Vetterlies.
Yeah, the Italian Vetterli 8948-24-48-
Yeah, or the Gewehr 88s, the
Yeah.
88/05/14/38/35.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. Anyway, he has one of those now, so he shot the Berthier, right? The short one? Oh, you did in the Kicking Carbines episode, didn't you?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The little shorty 3-shot was in that, which I really do like the small 3-shot carbine.
It's
Like it's
very
such a
handy.
yeah,
Having held it firsthand, it's very handy, but it
so
feels
tiny and light.
it's very light. It
It
feels like a toy.
yeah, it's got to be one of the lightest like Milsurp carbines that I can think of. So
It's
odd,
really a toy. It's what it feels like.
but it makes a kick. It's the worst kicker. Like I can of all the
You know,
Milsurps that I can think of,
funnily enough, you don't get a lot of people arguing with you about your particular take on that.
yeah, it's hard to I guess it's hard to argue with
I
it.
get people argue about like the M44 or the M38 or the M95 or whatever. But like I haven't seen a single comment on that video argue with you that the Berthier does not kick hard.
Yeah. Yeah. Which I mostly did that because I kept getting comments like that because in any video or I mean really if you just talk about it in any situation like that, oh, this gun kicks. Somebody's going to one up you and be like, "Oh, you think that kicks? You should try a blah blah blah." Um so that was me kind of trying to shoot all the blah blah blahs that I could think of that I could own.
Yeah.
Of course, didn't shoot them all, but this is the worst part is if you get a group of guns like that together, somebody's gonna always call out the one that you didn't include. So like you could bring out like 50 pistols or whatever and do like a big thing, and somebody's be like, "Well, you forgot the so and so."
You forgot this one that only like 5 examples were made and they're like $30,000.
Yeah, but yeah, got your birdie. The last like big things that I did was I bought the G41, which was like the biggest purchase I've ever made, and I had to like panic mode sell stuff to like be able to pay for the 41. But that was
I got some good deals in that panic sale, though. I did.
yep.
Uh, I I'll send this picture to you, Danny, but this is from your Kicking Carbines episode, and it was a really great screenshot somebody took of you holding the M95 and going, "So you know what? I don't like shooting this." It's like the perfect like here's the pull quote for the episode.
Yeah, it's true. If you shoot an M95 carbine, especially like yeah, the full powered military stuff out of it, it's like that's not pleasant unless you're a recoil buff enthusiast queen. Like it's not a
And you couldn't even use the long rifle you bought for what you wanted to do, which was to have an 8x56R, because it wasn't.
yeah, no. Yeah, that's the thing because I don't really reload and I'm not gonna get a specialty reload just for that. Yeah, if I want a long one, it's gonna be 56 so I can shoot it because I have a decent supply of 56R.
I mean, I've shot the 56R one that I have, and it's fine. Like it doesn't bother you whatsoever.
Okay.
All right.
Oh,
Well, I'd like
I
to
gotta get going.
Well, thank you all for coming. Thank you everybody for listening. You can reach us at Milsurp World on Facebook, on Instagram, on Reddit. I am on Reddit. On YouTube, And you can, if you're listening to this podcast, you probably have already figured out where it's at on all the podcast sites. Danny, you said we had a new email address?
Well, it's just the one I always use for the YouTube
Okay.
channel, which is just the real www2history at gmail.com. We also have a website now. That's a brand new thing. Yeah, it's like real basic. Doesn't have much content right now because I'm finding that it is it's a lot of work, like to create a website and like fill it up with enough stuff. So I'm just trying to fluff that up and get it full of stuff. So hopefully I can get some. Yeah, there's like 2 articles on it right now, and I'm trying to get more, like more Milsurp articles on there. And there's like a Milsurp section where you can just, look at pictures of different guns and like read some basic stuff about them. But yeah, just milsurpworld.com.
All right. Thank you all for coming. Thank you for our guests, and thank you all for listening. We'll see you next time.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you.